Okay.
I'm sending her a message.
So let me ask y'all a favor. If you won't do it, maybe I'll do it. But can you take a picture of yourself and post it to your Canvas account? Look, there's the.
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
I will. You just go on to like the settings and do it.
And the glorious and well coiffed. It's very stylish here. Krista, Bridget, with no hair at all.
You better believe it. I love it.
Tiffany, you're just a silhouette of yourself. Marquisha's here with baby. Congratulations on your baby.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thanks, guys.
Welcome, Aubrey.
Aubrey's her name? Her name's Aubrey?
Yes, Aubrey.
A-U-B-R-E-Y?
A-U-B-R-E-E.
A-U-B-R-E-E?
Aubrey.
Aubrey.
Yes, Aubrey.
Yeah.
My grandfather's name was Aubrey.
Oh, wow.
You would have got an instant A, but now you're down 50 points. Sorry. Well, let's hope Jacqueline gets in here, so I'll give her a check. Jonathan's so glad to see you all the time. Jonathan, you got a nice picture of yourself?
I can take one. I'm going to upload one from my second grade.
Perfect. That would be great. All right. I'm actually recording this class, so that means you can review this. And I was thinking of a couple of important things I did say. First of all, everybody know Tiffany? Everybody give a holler to Tiffany.
Hello.
Is Tiffany in my other class?
Nice to meet you again. Is your other class at 6 with this Dr.
Fowler.
Fowler?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
And you're taking the research online because you want to? Because you thought it would be too early to take our progressions, or?
Well,
Because some people find it easier to take face-to-face, but that's up to you. But it doesn't make a difference. You get credit either way. There's no problem with it. You'll have to do more criminology stuff in the criminology one, whereas these guys will be focusing on social work on the social work one. But if you want to switch it, you need to do it pretty soon. All right, get that figured out. So
what time is that class? That class was during the day, and I couldn't take it during
it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I couldn't take it.
Okay.
I couldn't take it.
There you go. It's a good fit for you then.
Yeah.
So I'm having a bad hair day, so I'm wearing my hat. It's kind of coming down like that. I don't like it like that. But pretty soon it will be long enough for me to either get it behind my ears or important things I want to note to you. Number one, I said this last week. I looked you in the eye, and what did I tell you? Oh, come on, you do. What did I say last week about the modules?
Enter everyone.
Oh, just make sure you do each module.
Click next.
Click, yes.
And
And I don't put crap up there, right? Then I just try to put stuff that I think is important.
Yes.
This is not a book-based, or it's not, I did not take the textbook and just stick textbook exercises and everything generated by the textbook editor. Everything up here is pretty much stuff I've created that I think is important in this class. So it's really important to me to do modules, and as you do the modules, you run into the assignment. You know, so I was hoping to see this week that everybody did the.
Jackie's trying to join.
She's what?
There she goes.
She's pop. I think she's trying to join.
Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Hi, Jackie. Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No response. Driving in the car.
I can't unmute her audio.
I think it's Keisha.
Yeah.
Was
That's
that
Keisha.
Keisha's audio? Well, then her audio's on. Jackie, can you hear me? Is she driving a car?
He looks like you might have to chat her and say,
I hope not.
She got herself muted so you can't hear the car.
I
yeah,
think,
because it look like his people.
I think that's Marquisha's.
Yeah, and I see her.
I think she's just got a picture of herself to make her think that she's there. All right. So it's really important to look through every single element in each one of these things, and that's the way you're going to discover the assignments that are due. One of them is an information sheet that I want you to fill out. That's an online link. And so I'm looking for those things, and that's really simple and easy to do. And then with the discussion boards, quite often with the discussion boards, unless they're very generic, like, and tell me about your hobbies, I'm responding to almost every one.
Yes.
And your responsibility is not to read my response. Your responsibility is to read everybody's response and read my response to everybody. That's part of the teaching of this class. I really try to use discussion boards as they're meant to be. Here's the bottom line, they're not very long. It's not usually like pages and pages and pages and stuff. It's usually, especially in this class, I mean, the other class has got 19 people in it, Tallahassee. This one's pretty manageable. But I hold you responsible for that information that I put in the discussion boards. So be sure when you see a discussion board to keep checking it to read not only my response to you, don't you get alerted if I my response to you like this? Whoa, Bill said something to you.
Green light.
Okay. But also to go back and read what I've written to other people because important information is in there. Last week, we started to walk through some of this information in here. And how about me? This little piece here, I'm going to go through these really quick. Here was a greeting from me, important to listen to. And it talks about an overview of the class. Here's some information about me. This is me in a bar in Vieques, Puerto Rico. That was a fun time. Interesting piece about Vieques, Puerto Rico. Vieques has the largest bioluminescent lake in the world. And what a bioluminescent lake is, it means for some reason that the bacteria in the lake is bioluminescent, which means that on a dark night, it lights up, but it only lights up when it's stimulated. So you go out there in like a little kayaking boat, and all of a sudden you see the paddle and everything around the class. Cool. So go visit Vieques, Puerto Rico. Pardon?
It's not, I mean, it sounds unique, but it sounds like you feel very dirty.
Feels dirty? It's a little freaky. You had a couple of beers in you and you're sitting on a kayak. In fact, what happened to me and a good friend of mine, first of all, you know, we paid a guy $40 just driving a car to take a spot and we thought he was going to kill us. But beyond that, once he actually took us out to the water, I saw a really large thing swim by and I said, wow, that's like a big light show and a fish going by. I said, oh, that's a shark. So we kept our feet up on the kayak. All right, so here are the textbooks that you need for the class. Buy tap this one or rent that one. You've got this one and this one. These are both inexpensive. Okay, Jackie wins a complimentary mute. There you go.
So we won't use mine tap right now?
No.
Not yet.
In fact, I don't know how to use MindTap, so you won't ever have to use it. Once I learn how to use it, then you may have to use it. My understanding is it's a bunch of resources. So.
It is.
From it. But it comes along with the package, and your other classes will need it. Here's stuff about the honor code. Why did I say you shouldn't cheat?
Because it's the right thing.
Right, good moral person, that's right.
Cause Bill says so.
Pardon?
You're not going to get
Right, it diminishes the value of your degree and who you are. But the other side of it is that there's a lot of people around. You're at a private school. You paid big money, or you at least paid more money than you would if you went to a public school. And the reason private schools are private schools and have a higher graduation rate than public schools, they have more people here designed to make you successful. Why do we want to make you successful? Because when you have a high graduation rate, that attracts other people wanting to come here. So there's a lot of people invested in you doing well here. Not just for the graduation rate, but actually some of us feel pretty committed, and that makes us feel good about ourselves when we're actually able to teach them. So if you have a trouble with this class, if you have trouble with research, go to the office hours, spend time. Professors are paid to teach. You know, if you need help, ask for it. If you need help with writing, go to the ARC. There's lots of people here that want to help you out. So if you get to the end of the semester and you're stuck because you don't know things or you can't write things, you put yourself in a hard position. So acknowledge it early and then communicate early and often if you're having problems. And I'm the division chair. If you have any trouble with any professors or anybody here on campus, I'm the guy that come talk to you, and I'm happy to help you out. Jackie, you hearing all this? Nod your head. Yeah, we can't hear you, but just nod your head. There you
Keep talking now.
There you
You muted her.
go. I know. Here's how to get help from TU services. All right. And then here's that social work letter that I just gave you. And that talks about the expectations of the program. We talked about that last week, so I'm not going to go over that again right now. Here's the passport booklet. Did we go through the passport booklet last week?
No, we didn't go through it, but you just.
No, you handed it out to the new students.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me briefly go through that with everybody. And you want to know what's exciting? You're going to be in the midst of change.
Oh, wow.
Our social work core competencies are based off of a standard that was set in 2008, and we're going to be shifting to a 2015 competencies next year. The good news is that there's less competencies. Bad news is it's kind of a complicated matter to switch over those kinds of things, but that's our job to take care of it. So next year, your passport is going to look different, but hopefully it will be understandable and easy to use. Let's take a look at what's in here. Here's a little welcome. Here's what Thomas University wants you to be able to do well. And this is really important. This is the point of your liberal arts degree. Now you guys are going for a Bachelor of Social Work, but it's based on a liberal arts foundation. Your liberal arts foundation are those lower division classes, 60 credits, or in the case of coming over from the regional college, you've already got a mix. You've got a mix of some upper division and lower division classes, and so you got to fill in that lower division a little bit. But the whole point of a liberal arts foundation is to stop you from narrowly looking at your profession like that's all you need to know in order to do a good job. Because a liberal arts foundation says you have to be a critical thinker and think broadly. You have to know a little bit about science, math, history, how the world functions, because you didn't get to today out of nowhere, right? So to understand how we evolved to our current understanding is really important. So Thomas University wants you to do 4 things well by the time you graduate, regardless of what major you've got. One is to communicate effectively, written, speech, presentation, etc., even online. Discover information means you just don't Google that. You try to find out where that came from and if it's true or not. Is there a lot of crap out there on the internet?
Yes.
Just Google Bill Milgren. Everything about me is a lie. You want to know the truth? Ask me.
Mm.
What would be good sources to go to get information about me? Don't ask my wife. Go right to the source.
Should be the better source.
Foster community. So this is a big deal, the discover information, and that's really what your research class is all about.
Yes.
It's for how do you figure out,
Your information.
if you're a common consumer, you try to go to well-written, well-researched sources, the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, magazines that have a good reputation to them. However, you guys are going a step above that. You are becoming academics, people who are well-read in an area. And now you have access through the library and online, you have access to all of the journals where professionals who this is what their life is all about are writing about various topics. And often these are the results of people writing PhD theses. In Gen 1, we go through the progression of the progression of degrees in social work. PhD and DSW are at the top. MSW is next after this, and then before that is the Bachelor of Social Work. You guys going for a Bachelor of Social Work degree actually cut the amount of time that you'd have to get your master's in half, because you're able to apply for advanced standard. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get it, but you could apply for it, and that cuts your time for getting an MSW from 2 years down to 1 year, which saves some money, and saves some time, and saves some heartache. Me. Thank you. Did somebody give me a whoop on that? Yeah, thank you. So your research class is all about how you take your critical thinking and discovering information to the next level. How to look at a journal article. Are there journal articles that are crap?
There's some.
Yes.
Yep, there's a lot, and a lot of them are peer reviewed. What does peer reviewed mean?
People that work in that profession have reviewed it and either agreed with the information that's in the article, or they, proven the facts of the article. It ain't always an agreement, but the facts are true.
Right. That they approved of the process by which they got the information they got. And there's a big controversy right now because there's a bunch of guys out there that have written articles that have been totally full of crap, that have been reviewed and got published. And then they came back later on and said, hey, listen, we made all this up. It was totally full of crap. And you guys weren't even able to notice.
Oh, wow.
So the academy, as they say, is under scrutiny, and we try to hold ourselves to the highest level of regard. And it's really important for us. And that's why when you're doing a paper, it's stupid to plagiarize, because all you got to do is learn how to cite people, and you get credit and recognition for doing that. So discovering information is very important. Fostering community, how to build relationships with people as you do things. And then critical thinking, which is to not just have a knee-jerk response to something, but to be able to thoughtfully consider what is the information, what's the problem, and then consider what are the various solutions. And somebody tell Tiffany, what is my definition of critical thinking?
Knowing why you do what you
Did you get that?
Knowing why you're doing it and why you're doing it and what you're doing.
Knowing why you're doing what you're doing.
Why you're doing what you're
It gives intention to the actions that you're taking. If you knew why you were doing what you were doing, then you would know what the goal is that you're trying to achieve in any given moment. So being able to move to that level of thinking enables you to ask really great questions. Next page is the honor code pledge, which says don't cheat. You don't cheat because there's lots of people here to help you. Here's our mission statement for social work, that we want to create good generalist social workers. Bridget, can you tell me in a clear and poignant way what a generalist is? I must have done you. Oh, there we go.
You want me to look back at my notes?
And what do you think a generalist is?
One who specializes in different areas.
One who specializes in different areas. Well, I'm going
Maybe
to twist
not.
that around and put it on its back and say it's one who has a little information about a lot of things. And that is somebody who has a big toolkit, doesn't specialize in any one kind of repair, but you're sort of like the handyman. So at the bachelor's level, you're a generalist. You're just gathering information in that regard. Our slogan here is be the change. And you'll see when you see on the back page of this, when I say be the change, I mean, you should allow this program to change who you are in order for you to become a social worker. Because this program encourages you to do things differently than you have done in the past. In the past, when people have needed help, you've given them advice or you've done things for them. This teaches a whole different strategy for it. And we go through this a lot in Gen 1, but we'll review this in just a minute. Here's the ethical principles. I ain't going to talk about that because you got ethics as a total class. Here are our core competencies. These are the things that you need to be able to do well, you need to be competent at in order to be a Bachelor of Social Work graduate. And so our goal through this junior year of classes is to teach you these things in theory so that you know about them, and then next year for you to go out and do them at your internship. All right? These 10 competencies are made up of behavioral indicators. And that means that there are behaviors that go along with each one of these competencies. So you see for this first competency, to identify as a professional social worker and conduct themselves accordingly, there's like 4 of them. That you have to advocate for client access to services, that you practice personal reflection, that will make you a professional social worker and conduct yourself accordingly, that you attend to professional roles and boundaries, that's another part of being a professional social worker. And we just had somebody who changed their placement as a senior because they had a hard time dealing with they were at hospice and they had a hard time dealing with the content of what was going on. It was triggering too much stuff for them. Things were spilling over. Whenever you got personal stuff and it spilled over while you're with a client, you're having boundary issues. Somebody reminds you of your dad. Ooh, how to be able to know that's not your dad. And as much as they remind you of it, you can't treat them like your dad and you can't assume things like your dad. Professional demeanor. So there's 41 of these things. And in Gen 1, I ask you to go through this book and make sure that you feel comfortable with all of this stuff, because if you're not comfortable with it, then you may not be a good fit for social work. So be sure to take a look through that booklet. And you got a booklet too, right? Yep, you got it right there with you. So be sure you take a look at that and make sure you know what's going on with it. At the end of this, you'll actually see what the seniors are evaluated on when they're at their field placement next year. So when you're in your field placement, you're going to be rated on a scale of 1 to 5 regarding being competent at those competencies. And where we want you at is a 3. Can you get a 2? Sure. Can you get a 1? You get a 1, that means you're not really trying. Can you get a 4? Would love it. Can you get a 5? That means you should be teaching it and you're a threat to my job. And here's our credo for social work. You be the change, make the difference, work hard and work smart, change the world one life at a time, starting with you right here, right now. So here's the important thing about this. You'll see this thematically come through. Practice 1 especially, practice 2, we're going to be encouraging with families. If you want to change others' behavior, you have to change your own. Because you'll change their reaction to you. All right? We don't have control over other people. We do have control over ourselves. This is really important because it's the foundation of the work that we're going to be doing for families. Is helping families, having parents realize when their kids are out of control, they say, hey, help me get my kids under control. We're telling them you need to change your behavior in order to help change theirs. They're just like, well, I wanted you to fix them, not fix me. Ooh, sorry about that. All right, let's fast forward. Okay, I don't want to kill this. How do I get out of here?
It's a PDF.
There we go. I'll go back here. There we go. There's the manual that I was talking with you about. If you ever want to take a look at that, that's right there. Here's some excellent resources if you want to take a look at what professional social workers, the kinds of tests they have to pass, browse through some of these things. You should be able to get through it through your student account. Here's how you access Zoom. So if you guys are ever away from class, but you want to attend class, do that. And this is stuff about the book. How's everybody doing with their books? We're okay? Getting them yet? Got them ordered?
I haven't ordered, but I've ordered mine. I just actually got some books before I left. They came. I just don't know which ones they are because they still in the box in my car. It's
Oh,
probably-
the anticipation must be killing you.
Yeah. How long did it take you? I ordered Tuesdays or Wednesdays.
Okay, here's the student information sheet. Who's done this so far?
I have.
Okay, I want everybody to get this done right away. It's right there. You should be going through these modules. So do the student information sheet. Just ask you a bunch of questions, gives me an emergency contact person, and lets me know if there's any special concerns I should be thinking about. Everybody good? Can do that? Nod your head for me, Jonathan. Yeah. You get it right away. All right. Here's a guide for critical thinking in your textbook. And I give you suggestions as to how to read your textbook because this book is a master's level textbook. If you go to Florida State University for your master's degree, that's the book they're going to be using. So it's not fun and touchy-feely. It's a lot of information, but it's an excellent textbook. It's a textbook I had when I was in school. Except in mine, it was chiseled into a stone tablet that I had to carry around. See, that's how old I am. That's funny. It's not that funny, Bridget. That's minus 50 points for you, Bridget.
Thank you.
All right. Now, the field application module. So we all know about the field obligation for next year. One of the ways that we can get you best matched is to start getting information about you right away. So at the end of this collection of information, there's the field manual, so you can take a look through it and see the kinds of expectations that go along with it. Here are the places in Georgia where we place students.
Do we have to get one of those?
You do not, but if you pick a new one, then we have to set up a relationship with them, and we have to make sure that the relationship that we set up with them meets the requirements for the program. They've got to have a MSW or BSW from a CSWE accredited school there. They have to be willing to meet the learning plan for the school. That doesn't mean you just do their casework for them. It means they have to meet the learning requirements for the job. And there's instructions here on if you want to seek out another agency. That's for Tallahassee. So if you want to contact a potential field placement, here's how you do that and what you should tell them to do. And you do not gather any more. You can't make an agreement with them. You can't say, oh, I want to do a field placement here. I'm going to work that out. what you have to do is just say, are you interested? Can I have the director of the program call you? And then Dr. Fowler will call and do a follow-up and see if they're a good match. All right, so this is the field application. And so this is this is very long. This takes maybe half an hour to 45 minutes to fill out, but it's going to be important information. It's a little bit like a resume, but not totally. But give yourself plenty of time to fill that out, but let's get that done within the next 2 weeks. All right, because that's what Dr. Fowler is going to start looking at in order to think, well, you might be a good match. Hear about it. And then she'll meet with you individually. And she'll talk with you more about this in the social welfare policy class. Okay. Okay, and this is how to put together a good resume. If you're working on a resume, it just can be very basic. But the thing that we emphasize is that when you list your experience, list what you accomplished within that, the things that you're most proud of it, things that you actually did. Just don't put, assistant manager at a shoe station. Put assistant manager at a shoe station, managed 6 employees, handled over $2 million worth of inventory, developed cataloging section, things that you accomplished so people can see, wow, I'd love to have somebody who can do that at my place.
Bill, are you critiquing the resumes that have been sent to you?
I will be. I wasn't, I put on here, don't submit them yet, but
Oh,
I'll take a look at them.
okay.
I did that in an announcement. I said, hold off on doing that until we've talked about it a little bit more, because I want to talk specifically about the STAR method at some point. So this is all about the STAR method, which is a specific way of putting information together. So this is all stuff about next year. Oh, wait a minute. All right, so here was signing up for the parent-child interaction therapy. How many people have done that?
I have.
So you finally got in, Bridget, okay?
I did get in, yes.
Okay, do you have any hints to people about how to do that?
Yes, well, it is really easy. You just follow the, follow the steps. But I will say that you did mention, don't wait until the last minute to do this. You mentioned that last week. This is a tedious process, and they're like 30 pages per, I think it's per phrase or something. And it is a lot of work.
It's like, I think she's saying 30 slides. There's not,
Yes.
yeah, there's not documents, but a lot of them have really in-depth presentations. You can't fast forward through them. You can't, and some of them have quizzes at the end of them. This is a large part. This is a hybrid class, right? Half of the work is supposed to be here, half of it's online. This is a large part of the online component. This is why I don't give you a lot of online work, because this takes a piece of it. But this is, again, a master's level training program.
What did you go about to get that?
Just click that link.
Which one?
Right here under the PCIT register. In fact, I've made it its own module.
There are 2 options that you can click on, and I did make a mistake and clicked on the first one. That's when I was emailing Bill back and forth. But you click on the second link.
There is one about, is it PTSD or it's trauma or something like that?
Right.
You want the choice of parent-child interaction therapy. Anybody want to sign in right now? Start yourself a new account?
Really?
Well, quite after 5. Let me keep going. We'll come back to it a little bit. But I want everybody to do this by next week. Get in there, get module 1 done. Can do?
Please, so.
Yes.
Jonathan, got an affirmative nodding over your head? Was that kind of, did you say?
Got it.
Oh, you got it. Oh, okay.
This is somehow I'm wrong.
Well, it's because it looks like this, and you have to click that thing there, you click that thing there, it opens up a window. There's nothing sexy inside here that makes you go, oh, I gotta do this. You gotta, anytime you see that, you gotta click it.
There's no bypassing
Maybe sexy is the
anything.
wrong word,
I
but
can't see anything. I gotta get a little closer.
I do.
okay. So now we're finally into the social work stuff to begin everything. Read all of this, take a look at this. All right, here's one of the most important videos you can watch because this gives you the foundation of the person and environment approach. You'll see me talk about the person and environment approach all throughout the semester. I can't believe I'm stuck here without a marker. I am gonna just weep. Let's go crazy. Nabbit. Why wouldn't somebody know?
One next door.
You have to go grab one next door.
Is there one next door?
It was
Yeah.
writing on the board, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
it's one next door.
Oh, okay, thank you. Oh.
I didn't even see it. Or I might have saw it and didn't know what it was.
Well, they took their marker, thank you now. All right, enough said. Watch this video because it teaches you about the person and environment program or perspective. Everybody got that?
Yes, sir. Do that little form, watch the video.
All right, now we're getting into the stuff that is review for our Gen 1 people. So you guys nod your head reassuringly as I say these things. And you guys have open eyes and are attentive because this is what's going to help make the foundation of what we're going to learn about this semester. All right. So, social work. You seen that video? If it was easy to help somebody else would have done it. All right? So the people we're dealing with aren't easy to help. Or they're nice people, but they've got a specific thing that they just can't change. Now, who has things in their life that they'd like to change that are willing? Thank you. Jonathan's the only perfect person in this room, so I don't expect to see the hand raised. Everybody else. So the bottom line is we can all relate to it, right? We all have habits, we all have ways of reacting, we all have issues, things that we know we could do better if only we did this, but it's hard as heck for us to do that. You're smart, your families are smart, your friends are smart. Do they want you to do that thing too?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we still don't do it.
Yes.
The only person who does it, Bridget. Is that right, Bridget?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, if you tell the truth, 1 point extra credit, that's it. Okay. So we're dealing with people who have problems that have been around often for a while, that other people have been unsuccessful in assisting, and they've been unsuccessful themselves in creating change for themselves. So we take a different way of approaching people. One thing that everybody else does is they tell them what to do. They tell them what they think is wrong. They tell them what they think the problem is. They give them advice, put them into a box and say, you're like this, so you need to do this. Sure. What we do, they should all over people. That's right. Just give them all these shoulds, right? You only did this, you only did it. What we do is take a different approach with it. And the irony in this approach is that we give up all of our expertise. Our expertise is not in telling people what to do, it's in collaborating with them and working with them in order to help them obtain a goal that they want to reach. We work smart and we work hard, but we don't fall in the pit of becoming an advice giver. Why? Because when you're an advice giver and it doesn't work, people blame you, you lose your credibility.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is have a teenager to know that. Because all teenagers want to do is jump on top of the hypocrisy. Well, you said this, and the world's like that, so screw you and you're no good. Well, we don't ever get ourselves in that spot because we don't tip our hand. And in fact, one of the things we work really hard on is trying to figure out what are the ways that we come across to people in such a way that we may think, or they may think that we're giving them advice. We try to pay attention to our facial characteristics, our body language, our voice tone, because sometimes you can say, oh, really? Or I can go, oh, really? You know, they give two different messages. And there's some people, I've had people come into this program who never give eye contact. You know, they're kind of looking up the forehead a little bit, or they're doing the up there, or they're doing this kind of eye contact. Just a little bit too close, just a little bit too intense, just a little bit too over the top.
In personal space.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. But everybody's personal space is a little bit different. Cultures are all different. And that's what's like cultural diversity, right? And cultural diversity doesn't tell you, well, because you're Chinese, I should do this. It says, pay attention. What's the information that the client's giving you? Because what we want to do is look for the response from the client that tells us we're starting to get towards our goal. All right? So instead of having this packaged routine and this expertise that says, well, here's what everybody's got to do. What we do is we meet each person where they're at. We try to gather information that gives us a big picture view of them, and then we try to work with them to make a plan that reaches their goals. To do this, a couple of rules of thumb. We don't give advice.
Why?
We're very much based on outcome. That is, we want, if you're hungry, doesn't matter how hard I try or what my intention is, if you don't get food at the end of that process, it's no help to you, correct? So we rate our effectiveness not by how hard we try, but by the outcome that we achieve. Here's one of my big lines. Help isn't help unless it's helpful. All right? Who gets to judge whether something's helpful? The client. Oh, I gave you help. You just didn't accept it. You didn't give them help in a way that they could receive it. Because one of our things about meeting people where they're at means I've got to give you information in a way that can make an impact and to help you change your behavior. So results are defined by the client and not by you. Trust the process means that once you learn the general flow of the social work process, and we go over that in practice 1, that you don't panic when somebody tells you, I was sexually assaulted as a child. You know, my uncle, when I was 6 years old, assaulted me, and it was a terrible, terrible situation. You don't start saying, well, tell me more about it, or what's going on, or what's it. You have a whole lot of information to gather. We're trying to get this person and environment perspective. Remember I drew those arrows last week, all those things? We got to collect all that data. And then at the end of that, it may be that story is important and we need to hear that from the person, have a better understanding. But maybe that's the least of their issue. Maybe that was something that taught them a strength, which was resiliency. And we build upon that resiliency because if their goal right now is to get a job, we need to help them focus on getting that outcome and deal with that in appropriate context. So trusting the process means you know the social work process and you don't mix it up. You don't start doing treatment before you gather the data. You don't gather the data before you've established the relationship. You don't establish the relationship until you told the client what your role is and what you're doing there. So social workers don't give advice. We covered that. Social workers do not personally disclose information about themselves. Well, dang, you can't talk about yourself. Who are you going to talk about? The client. When you're with them, your time and your focus is on the client. This listen, really listen, especially at your level of work, at the bachelor's level of work, doing case management with clients, you can change people's lives, but you're going to do that by shutting up. That the healing will be in the hearing. Your ability to stop yourself from talking and give somebody the chance to talk may be one of the few opportunities they've had ever to feel like somebody was totally interested in them and focus in on what their needs are. So the main therapeutic technique that we use as a bachelor's level practitioner is to listen, really listen. And that means that we're paying attention while we're listening to the impact of listening on the client. My Gen 1 people, after we've listened, really listened, what do we give the client?
Feedback, what he said.
How do we give them that
Give it
feedback?
back to him in questions. So you said this. So
Summarize.
Perfect, yep. So we're giving them feedback about what we heard. We're summarizing back to them, what you told me, I'm going to give back to you. I'm not even going to go into weird things. I just want to make sure, did I hear you properly? And the effect of being listened to can change people's lives. So read this, really good information in here. So critical thinking. So we have our social work approach. How am I going to do this? Well, I am creative, so I'm going to figure out how to do this. Hang on for 1 second. Do you guys see Word?
Word.
No.
Damn it. What happened to it? That's still there. Okay. How about now?
Nothing's there. It's just an empty page.
Okay, but you see it, okay?
Yes. Mhm.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the social work process. In your book, they're going to talk about 3 phases of social work. The 3 phases of social work. The first is exploration. The second is implementation. And the third is termination. If I was to break this down a little bit more, this would be the beginning. This would be the middle. And this would be the end. Here, we're gathering data for a treatment plan or an intervention that we're going to do with the client. Here, we're implementing the treatment plan. Here, we are terminating or ending the treatment plan. When we gather up data for a treatment plan, The way we do that is through a document called the biopsychosocial assessment. In the middle phase, we are using case management of the goals from the biopsychosocial assessment. New folks, you following me? Is this making sense, sort of? Trying to break it down. You can watch this video. I'll send you a video and you can take a picture of it. Here we are formally ending the documentation for the case. This is a lot of practice one stuff, so you don't need to have this memorized. What I would like for you right now is just to see, does it make sense? Because one of the metaphors that you'll see me use in practice one is I say, going to see a social worker should be just like seeing a doctor. Like you walk into a doctor's office, you know, what's the first thing I ask you? What's going on? Well, you already told them at the front desk, I got a broken arm. I mean, what do they ask you? You say, what's going on? Because they want to know what's your definition of the problem. Because what you might say is, my kid hit me with a bat, or maybe I fell down some stairs, or I went to a party last night. All three of those things give the doctor a different perspective. As even though they're going to treat your broken arm, it gives them context for what's going on, right? Make sense? Right? So how do we gather data for this biopsychosocial assessment so we can do it most effectively? Well, the first thing we do is we prepare and we get our head in the game. By getting our head in the game, we wonder, is there something about this client that may make me think that might distract me while they're there? So, Latinos coming in, how do you feel about Latinos? You okay with them? Not okay with them? Just be aware. You'll hear me say, I don't ever want you to think you cannot have feelings about somebody.
That's right.
What I want you to be is awake and aware of your feelings, and then be a professional enough to put them aside and get your job done. But you're always going to have feelings about stuff. You know that person that had trouble at hospice? She's got stuff going on. That's her stuff. That's okay. You're human. You're going to have stuff. Be aware of it, work with it, and you get supervision and support for it, but you don't take it out on the client. So you prepare your head, you prepare the case by getting additional information about the client, trying to get any additional information before you meet them to make sure that it's all right. And you also prepare your space to make sure that your space is welcoming and greeting for them. The metaphor I use is like you're having somebody over at your house. You know, where would you meet them? How would you treat them? What would you show them? Well, you show people, here's where the bathroom is. You know, here's where we do this. Here's where we do that. And then when you take them into your space, your living room, you want to have a place for them to sit, right? So you want to pay attention to all that stuff. The next thing you want to do is you want to build rapport. You want to start building a relationship with the client so that they feel like they're dealing with a human on the other side. So you start with small talk, and then you eventually talk about your role, about what you can and can't do, because you don't want the client under the fantasy that you can do all of this when your job is just to do that. Then we ask about the client's definition of the problem. We're trying to get, what does the client think is going on right now? Our file may demonstrate to us totally different information about that. This all sounding familiar to my Gen 1 people?
Yes.
Okay. Preaching to the choir. Fascinating for my new people?
It seems like I've seen all this before in the social work class.
Introduction to social work? we're preaching the same song around here. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, because what we want to do is from all different angles, make sure that we're giving the same story. You'll see the same competencies talked about. You'll see the same generalist concept talked about, but each class is going to have a different spin on it. All right. Then we're going to clarify some expectations. We're going to ask the client, what do they think I could do for them? If I was the perfect social worker, what would I be doing for you? Because that gives me the client's definition of what they think help is. Remember I said help isn't help unless it's helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So now I'm trying to get the client to define, well, what do you consider help in this situation? And that way I can pay attention to doing those elements of it so that they feel like I'm helpful.
You rewriting the biopsychosocial?
Then we go through the process of gathering data. And here we're asking lots of questions. And we're summarizing responses to the client. So I'm asking you, well, tell me about your current home situation. Well, I live over in Thomasville in a 2-bedroom apartment with a dog named Bucky and my kids named Sam and John. And what do I say? Well, it sounds like you live in a 2-bedroom apartment with your kids Sam and John. You got a dog named Bucky. But I'm also asking you, how do you like your house? How do you like your neighbors? What do I want to know? Those stressors and strengths of your current living situation. And then I might ask you about, well, tell me a little bit about where you grew up. Listening for stresses and strengths. Tell me about your family growing up. Stresses and strengths. Tell me about elementary, middle school, and high school. Stresses and strengths. Tell me about your work history. Tell me about your medical history. Stresses and strengths. Tell me about medications you're on. You know, there you get the medications, but then you try to figure out what are the stresses and strengths of this medication. Tell me about your social functioning. Yeah. Got a boyfriend? Got a girlfriend? Got any friends? Married? Got a boyfriend? What if you did have a boyfriend? Can I be judgmental of you?
No. We just gather data.
I'm just trying to figure out what's that going to do with your outcome. If your outcome is to help you get SNAP, what's it got to do with anything? Well, I might want to tell you, if your boyfriend's income is coming into this thing, you better find about that boyfriend's income. That may make you ineligible. You know, but it's not my job to judge. It's my job to make sure you know what, and this is the beauty of role, is my role helps me stay focused on what I need to do for you. Because anytime my mind may wander off, all I got to go is that my job?
That's right.
Clients telling you a heart-wrenching story about their kids. They're crying. Should you cry? Well, you may feel moved to tears, but I'd ask you, what's your role? If your role is to build rapport with a client and you think the client would feel like they're closer to you because of that, you might could cry. If by crying, it makes them think, oh, you got no ability to be able to help me, you can't cry. You got to do your role. So the way we gather data, we ask lots of questions about pi. What's pi?
Person
in environment.
No, you're perfect. It's that person and environment. So that's all of those strengths and stressors, from their personal life to their medical history to how they think about things to their social functioning to what they think are their strengths and their stressors to what they think is going to happen, etc. And so we summarize the clients and then we clarify to make sure we understand, did I get that right? Right? Then we collaborate for problem solving. And so in practice 1, you'll learn a specific problem solving method. Really easy, 4 steps. Anybody want to tell me what the 4 steps are? Anybody else?
The 4 steps to
Problem solving.
Problem solving?
First thing is we brainstorm all of the,
Problems.
you didn't even take the class, you 1,000 points of light, you're all right. Yep. Brainstorm all the problems. Second step, we prioritize the problems. Right? Third step, we brainstorm all the solutions for a specific problem. Fourth step, we prioritize the solutions. What are the solutions that we want to do? The ones that are easiest and the ones that are most effective. Then we're ready to put together a treatment plan. That treatment plan contains goals, what we want to accomplish, objectives, what are the things that need to be done in order to accomplish the goal. And then 3, tasks, which are specific, measurable items to be accomplished. So our treatment plan then actually, and these are date driven, that is, like accomplished by next week. Behavioral, that is what they actually are going to do by next week. And measurable, as I put there. Once you have that set up, that's your treatment plan. So then we're in the middle phase. We're now moved into the middle phase of implementation of the treatment plan. Yeah. I can try to put this as a document in the thing, but you'll be able to see it. So now we're in the second or the middle phase of the social work process. So when I say trust the process, I mean do things in this order in order to get what we're trying to achieve. New folks, does this make sense to you? Sound kind of like, and here's the thing, when you go to the doctor, this is exactly what the doctors do, right? You come in, and you say, I got a broken arm, I say, I'm a podiatrist. What do you say? See you later. Podiatrists deal with feet, don't deal with arms, right? So, but an orthopedic surgeon, or I might be a general practitioner and say, well, here's 2 aspirin. Go see an orthopedist. Orthopedist says, okay, now I can lose exercise. But they want to get the context of who you are. When you go see your general practitioner, in the beginning, they get your baseline, right? This biopsychosocial assessment, that's our baseline. Do you understand what a baseline is? The baseline is what's normal. It's our starting place. The important thing about having a baseline is if I don't have a baseline, I don't know if you're getting better or worse. Right? If I don't know.
State. Your current state.
Right. So when you go to the doctor, you say, well, I'm 140 pounds and my blood pressure is this, and you come in 6 months later and your weight's up and your blood pressure's up. The doctor's like, oh, something happened between now and then, which, unless you want it to go up, we need to figure out what's going on. So with our client, this is our baseline data. This tells us who they are right now. And then as we do our treatment plan, as we implement our treatment plan, what we're we're constantly trying to take a look at is, are things getting better? Right? Because if they're getting better, let's keep doing it. And if they're not, let's come up with some other ideas. So in order to do this case management, one of the things we engage in is a documentation process called, way to go, will it? So,
That'll be a piece.
1,000 points as to your credit. You keep making me feel good, you know. You don't need to. And SOAP notes represent a way of creating information about the client. All these practice one guys are going, I can't believe he's giving them all the answers already. It took us all semester to learn this stuff. But this is actually what you do when you go to see your doctor. Your doctor takes SOAP note time. The subjective piece is what you think.
Bless you.
So the doctor might say to you, tell me what's going on. I don't say, sounds like you got a cold. I say, tell me what's going on. You sneeze. I might say you sneezed 4 times. That's kind of like reflective listening, you know, summarizing what you just said. Well, it sounds like you sneezed 4 times. The objective piece is, well, since I saw you last, I gave you blood pressure medicine and suggested this diet. Did you do them? Did you take the medicine? Did you walk around the block every day? Then the assessment is, if they did do it, how'd it work? How's your blood pressure? Better? Worse? How's your weight? Better? Worse? Now, if they didn't do it, if you didn't take the medicine, what have I got to do?
And then annotate that you're not working with the program. Start over.
I have to change my intervention.
Start over.
How could I change my intervention to make sure you take the medicine?
Well, you're gonna have to talk to them and say, "I know we need to do something about this," and get them to thinking about doing something for themselves.
Well, it's like Jonathan, who's a medic, right?
Yep.
Didn't he used to be a medic or something?
Something like that.
Something like a nurse or something?
Corbin, same thing.
Corbin? Okay.
Different name.
So I say, I know Jonathan's your next door neighbor. Jonathan, will you go over every day and watch him take his stinking medicine? And he pops it in your mouth and watches you swallow it, and then he makes you stick out your tongue. This is what they got to do in psych wards with people who cheat medicine. You know, because they think, oh, save it up.
It bothered me.
So our assessment is, does it work? If it's not working, then we got to change things. And our plan is how we change things in order to make it more effective. This should be overwhelmingly logical, even though it's different words, but for what you might normally think. But this is kind of the way we look at things. We're kind of done.
Same way you're trying to get.
And look at, we're just getting to termination. So termination is when we finally have met our goals, or a client's run out of money, or we run out of the ability to provide services. But the important piece with this is that when we terminate or end treatment, there is always a plan for how the client and follow up for more assistance. This piece is very important because we don't want to ever just leave clients hanging out there. We want to make them always feel like there's a next step that they can take. But for our new folks, I want you to know the magic in this process that happens is your ability to help teach the client the critical thinking process that you're using to help them, for them to implement that in their own life. That is, for them to gather data before they make decisions, for them to look at what are all the various problems going on, stressors and strengths, and then for them to know that there are many options that they can choose in order to do that. This is the foundation by which we're going to build our perspective at looking at families. So next week, we're going to start our actual look at families. And here's the thing I want you to pay attention to in the next module I wonder if I can do this right here. Hang on for a second.
Are you gonna add that to Canvas?
I'm gonna see if I can do that right now.
Thank you.
I added something and I called it social work process. Right here. Edit. Boom goes dynamite. Who's the man who loves you?
Oh, yeah.
It's the belly up.
That was to be 100 points extra credit for anybody who said, Bill, you are. I just didn't hear it.
Belly up. All I gotta do is scoop 'em.
Yeah, you are awesome.
Bill,
Yeah.
you know you are.
No, you know what I was saying about that affect thing? No. All right. So that's
No,
it there.
you are.
So the next piece here that we're going to be looking at is actually just starting to take a look at dimensions of family experience. And so just like in practice one, I said, whenever you meet somebody, you're going to have assumptions about it, right? You start to think things, and if we can get our biases out of the way by being aware of them, we can most accurately see them. Well, now the issue with families is, what's the original group that you compare a family to? Your own family, right? So how do you get over judging what is right and wrong by what your family experience was? Because you're most apt to have these blinders that say, well, this was good in my family, so that's what other families should do. And this was bad in my family, so therefore they shouldn't do this. When really the issue is, you gotta get those blinders off, because that's the basis by which you're judging people. You have a whole different basis to do that in social work. Now we're going from pi to phi. We have to see a group of people in their environment, understanding all of their strengths and stressors and how they interact. It's cool stuff. I can't wait for you to dive into it.
I need to meet it.
Sound good?
Bill, where did you just put that? I'm looking in Canvas.
Maybe you were asking me to publish it.
Perhaps.
Try it now.
Under modules?
Yeah, it should be in the reviewing generalist principles. Refresh your screen.
Okay. Let's see here. Process. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for saying thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I affirmed her for doing something.
The time is 5:51.
Even at home, she's running the clock.
All right, Bridget's muted. Thank you. All right, thank you, guys. I'm going to leave this up for Dr. Fowler, okay?
So we just need to do the info sheet, discussion board, and the video.
You need to do everything that's in every module.
Right.
You need some very vibration.
Going on with the module.
Yeah, when you see stuff like that, but go into your calendar. You know how to use the calendar?
No, I haven't.
I'll let them
Okay, in the calendar. In the calendar, you should see something like this.
Without the due dates.
Yes, with due dates,
I didn't see that on my calendar.
for at least for my class.
Okay.
However, when do I want you to do them?
Checklist.
Right. Gotcha.
None of my stuff takes a really long time. I'm not research, you looking into your heart, into your experience. So get them done now, because that gets it out of the way. You'll get credit for it. You'll see it. You know how to look in your grade book?
Mhm.
Okay. So you'll see stuff in your grade book. You'll feel better, I'll feel better. I give you plenty of time and notice to do things, so just get my stuff done, because that makes me feel good.
So you like this?
All right, so I'm going to and definitely sign up for PCIT and get that going.
PCIT, I gotta remember that one. I didn't see it, I remember from last class, but I didn't see it.
So Dr. Fowler. She can start from there. Tiffany, it was a pleasure to meet you. And let's keep this dialogue about your progression sheet going.
Okay.
Because let's get that resolved right away. Okay. There's not much we're going to do about it. If you're comfortable with your load right now and you don't want to take any more, there's no panic about it. I think it'd be better for us to have a plan, because then you'll know whether you want to apply for field, fall, and all that stuff.
Bill.
Yes.
Hey, I made it home, so I'm trying to get on my laptop to do Dr. Fowler's class. I'm having trouble because my phone is about to go dead. So
He said he's just gonna keep it up.
If you go go to the laptop, go into my Canvas shell, click on my Zoom, and then you'll be in the class.
Yes, my phone is about to go dead. Is the reason why I'm trying to go on my laptop, because I have made it home. So I may be zooming in a little late if I can figure out how to put it on my laptop.
The way you do it on your laptop is just go to my class and click on the Zoom link, because my Zoom link is open for her class. So you'll go to this exact same spot, but on your laptop. You can do it right now while you're on your phone. We gotta get you a phone charger though.
Well, I just plugged it up. I just made it home from a long meeting today, so, and I did get to hear on your class stuff.
I like how you got your personal chef up in the corner of the picture there.
Oh, that's my son trying to show me how to do this.
Oh, okay, you got your personal technician. Let's get him going.
You can see me?
I see. All right. All right. But yeah, so let's keep talking and make sure we got a plan for you that works. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh, this thing is tightening. I was logged in. I don't know what happened to me. Mr. Willie, you see me?
I see you.
Jackie.
All leaning back in your chair.
Yes, Miss Bridge, I hear you.
Do you see on your screen, Jackie, do you see the document that he left open from Microsoft Office?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't close it.
He didn't log out his thing.
No, he didn't. Keisha, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey, Keisha.
Hi, how are you?
This thing is so confusing.
Spanish.
Trying to do it on my laptop. Stay back. Okay, then I'll go to my Zoom. Okay. But it showed well, like it was looking towards me. Then when I looked at it, like it. Okay, let me turn y'all off my mute. Hold on. No. There it is. See, but it's showing. Right here.
Your video.
Right here.
Organized. That's something to do with.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it. I need to log out on my
Is
phone though.
it showing you? I don't know.
It's showing my hand. See?
I have to get organized too.
The view option here. Hold on.
I like to have my stuff.
That's mode. Get on.
Like doing it.
I like to have it in place.
I see.
Can you click on that arrow?
When I started, I gotta get back to it because
The arrow, yeah.
it's
Nah,
everywhere now.
Oh, not the video.
It
the arrow next to
is. I
it.
did the paperwork for.
Yeah.
Still not done.
Yeah, and you click the camera.
Yeah, it didn't even have it. It's sitting on the computer.
You can't front, right?
Mm-hmm.
I meant to get it, but I didn't get it. It's down.
Mr. Wheeler, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you see my face?
I sure can.
Gosh, was everybody looking at my face the whole time?
Yeah, everybody was looking at it.
Oh my God.
Like you look at trying to take a nap.
Huh?
Like you look at trying to take a nap. Just kidding.
No, I was traveling from Tifton and then my husband picked me up and then now I'm home.
Oh, we saw all that.
Yeah, we did.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, y'all, but I just didn't want to be absent.
I don't
Oh, no,
blame
you're
you.
fine. It's,
It costs too many points to be absent.
yeah.
I know. Now I'm trying to get it off my phone.
Just turn it off.
Okay, I'm leaving it. Oh Lord Jesus.
Yeah, because it looked like you on two of them.
I am. Hold on.
Bam, there you go.
Okay, now it just wanted me now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see me holding my phone?
Yeah, you have a look like a brown shirt, and you in a chair, you wearing some glasses, like you got your thumb up, can't tell.
Okay. But you can't see me holding my cell phone, right?
Not down.
Jackie, stop.
No, seriously, because I'm going to be on my cell phone. So y'all can't see that, right?
Oh, no, we can't see that. We can just
Well,
see.
great. That's good.
Jackie, are you calling me right now?
Calling you?
Well, somebody's calling me.
No, I'm not calling. I just want to make sure Dr. Fowler don't see my cell phone.
She's not going to see all that.
Oh, Jesus.
Y'all know it's boring.
Mm. Mm.
Uh-oh.
Could be cooking stuff. We'd be entertained then.
She did.
Why I can't see y'all?
Because how
The
he got the
camera's
camera.
pointing over that way instead of out here in the class.
Oh.
Can you see this?
See that hand?
I'm trying to make it bigger. Okay, what only thing I see is he left the oh hell. Shoot. Uh-oh.
Wait till you get back. You ready to see it?
See?
There you go.
It's how he got the camera. Now we can't see you no more.
Okay.
Oh,
And you're back.
I'm gonna figure this thing out. I'm gonna figure it out.
And just send some pizza his way.
it comes in handy.
Oh Lordy.
Boy, this being here all day is just rough, boy. Getting here at 9:30, boy, just killing me.
You been there since 9:30?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Fowler ain't got in class yet?
No.
She got 10 minutes. She got how many more minutes? 7?
Stop, girl. Stop, girl.
Let me do the countdown on you.
Oh, I'm counting them minutes down right there now.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have to take me a nap in the truck before I start driving. As the sun slowly chases the moon from the sky, touches your face,
Go on, Mr. Williams.
you open your eyes. I'm sleepy now. And I'm fighting sleep. Tell me what are you thinking? Do you like what you see?
Sound like Luther.
All that you dreamed of, or do you wish it was me? Boy, I could use a nice big old pot of coffee.
Miss Bridget.
Toast. I'll be sick. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
5 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. I am a wandering stranger.
Miss Williams gonna fall asleep.
I done had to stand up in Bill class. Wall there to keep. I'm sitting up here, boy. I hear my own self hit the floor.
Who plays, Miss Williams?
I had to get up. I am a million miles away.
She's about to come. She upstairs.
I know you're waiting for me.
She had one more minute.
To come home again.
We counting down.
But I'm searching for an answer.
Jeez.
Miss Bridget, you too quiet now. That don't even sound right. You ain't said
I'm like you. I'm trying to fight sleep.
Yeah, but you ain't said 3 words. I ain't used to that.
I just called your number. You ain't answering. I don't know what
Oh,
the problem
it's in
seems
the,
to be.
it's in the, my phone was in the truck. I went to sleep out there and, jumped up and ran in him.
Oh, wow.
Didn't even realize I was a whole 40 minutes early.
Why you been there since 9 o'clock? What classes you taking?
I drive, well, yeah, I have to get up an hour and a half. Well, start this way about an hour and a half from Valdosta.
Right.
I had to stop for gas this morning, so I had to leave a little bit early. And it was already cool. I was already up. So I just took off and came home. Plus, I was trying to talk to whatever the lady's name is about my books. Well, trying to see if my funds had got here so I can get my books and all that to get done before class. But I do got books coming now, so I guess it was worth it.
I tell you all what, that PCIT assignment that we're having to work on, that thing is a mess. Each section is about 30 to 45 minutes or an hour long. And there are, in the first section, chapter 1, I think, is 30, I think it's 30 different assignments. And each one of them is 30 to 40 minutes long. Oh my God.
At least you knew to go on and get to it. I looked for it, but I didn't.
It is so, well, you got to download MindTap and, not MindTap, MindTap is for another class. You got to download PCIT and fill in all this information. But I tell you what, it is tedious. It's just so much. You got to watch these videos because in the middle of the video, they're going to have like a little short mini quiz that you can't bypass.
She said she might fly back home.
It's like extra work.
Wait a minute. One more minute, Mr. Wheeler.
She over there, I thought she was coming. I saw her about to leave.
She got to be in the class by 6 after, 10 after 6, right?
Wait a minute. We have one more minute.
What y'all gonna do? Log out?
That's what the whole class does.
Oh, we get out on time.
Just to be here when?
Johnny, you ready?
We good, but like,
15 minutes.
10 minutes, supposed, but they ain't gonna, that don't hold up. They still get to write you out
No way.
after a certain
Well,
time.
everyone has to commit to leaving.
Yeah,
yeah.
the whole crew gotta be walking out.
Everybody gotta do it.
I live I'm tired, I've been here since 9:30, I couldn't take it.
Yeah, I took the research.
But then I'm thinking about taking me a nap in my truck before I go home.
It's like
I
you
don't
have a
wanna be
big
no
break.
road pizza.
It's done.
Jackie, you get ready to black out.
I'm logging out.
All right, bye-bye.
Who that said bye-bye?
Hey, I don't know. Look at that.
Look,
Jackie, you gone.
Show me the baby piece.
I'm about to go.
Jackie, hold tight, girl.
Oh, hold on, I'm about to show it to you. Hold on. She's not,
Bad.
she not asleep. I'll talk to my classmates. Here she go.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute.
Look at her. So sweet.
Sleep.
Look,
Thank
Miss
y'all.
Aubrey. Keisha, your life would never be the same.
I know. I know.
Oh, here you
So
are.
you showing the baby? I don't see the baby.
I just showed her.
I just showed her.
Why I can't see nothing?
Cause I muted my video. You didn't see her, Jackie?
No.
Where you was? Hold on. You see it?
Wait a minute. Hold on.
How about now?
No,
Yeah.
I can't see
I
nobody.
see her.
I don't know.
Take a picture of the center of the Jackie.
Why
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
can't
have
see
to
nobody?
just say.
I'm saying why I can't see nobody. What I'm doing,
You
Bridget.
did something,
Oh
Jackie.
no,
Did you
did
sign out?
something if you can't see us.
Hold on, Keisha.
I don't see Keisha picture.
I had just muted my picture. I
Oh,
just
okay.
took it off.
Why can't I see nobody?
I see you, Jackie.
Yeah, we see you.
Everybody see me, but I don't.
Hi,
Miss
Dr.
Brenda,
Fowler.
I can't see nobody.
Oh, Dr. Fowler here now? Okay.
Oh Lord, Dr. Farlene.
I'll go ahead and
Yes.
I can't see nothing, y'all.
All right, you got
Can you see the board?
Right. Now.
I don't see. Bill still got his stuff up, right? That's all I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's he got up?
Well, there's a document from Microsoft Office that's up on the screen right now that he didn't take down.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Bridget.
Document 1 Word.
All right, I've got Jackie, Bridget,
And the other girl.
this is Bill's screen.
It's that word document.
He's recording it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see, I don't see a Word document at the bottom.
It's like at the
You don't see it at the bottom of the
Like,
screen?
I see you, Miss Bridget.
It has the
Okay.
thing, then the Word document.
See me?
At the bottom.
I see you, Miss Jackie.
I can't see nothing.
But you can't see me because I took mine off.
You got it. Oh, right here?
Yeah,
Yes,
right there.
ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't get up? Yeah. Right there.
All right, I
Okay.
got
There we are.
It's still there.
Keisha, I got Kate Jordan and Jackie, what's your last name?
Murphy.
Mhm. Yes.
Murphy.
Yeah. Make sure we got everybody on there. So we got 4 here and 4 at home, huh? Okay.
Should be 3.
Well, I apologize for my lateness. Had to get a couple of field students squared away, but now they are. So is this what he was talking about that's here up behind you all?
Yes, that social work process.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to decide now. Let me get stuff up.
He added it to Canvas, so I don't think you have to save it.
No, I wouldn't think so because I'm sure he's got.
Yeah, he just added it to Canvas.
Okay. Oh no, I closed the screenshot. Well, that's okay. Hello. All right, I see everybody.
That's it now.
Let me kind of see where I can keep track of both parts of you. All right. And thank you all for being here in one form or another tonight. I want us to kind of go over some things that we did not go over last week in terms of the syllabus. We talked about some of it, but we didn't really finish going through things like policy. And I want to make sure that everybody's clear. There's some changes this time than the way I've normally done it. We talked about, if you've got your syllabus with you, or have access to it.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll pull mine up.
Okay, I'm just going to see if I can pull my canvas up because that would make it. That way I can get to whatever I need to. Okay, that's a lot there. I have no idea.
If you hit that arrow, they'll probably go to part 2.
If I hit which arrow now, this one over here. Oh no, we don't need those like that. Let's see, edit here. There we go. Well, I don't know what happened, but that looks a lot better. Okay, y'all have got it up there. Can you see that, folks at home?
Not really. I'm looking at mine, my copy of it though.
Okay.
It's a lot of light.
On the screen right now, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot of light on the screen.
Oh, okay. Well, let me see if I can do this where we don't totally get. Is that better?
Not really. I mean, it isn't for me. Is it better for you, Jackie and Keisha?
I have mine pulled up on my phone. I'm looking at it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we'll work with that then. And the pieces that I really want us to spend some more time going over tonight is just to make sure you know what my expectations for the course are. And some things that we did not cover last week. I think we did talk about the method of assessment and evaluation on the bottom of page 3, which is points that you get for different activities through the course. Okay, class attendance and participation through module assignments. And since we are now with Canvas, I've taken to calling them module assignments instead of assignments as I used to. I don't know how many of those you will have. I will give a prorated portion of points out of that 350 according to the time and the effort that it will take you on a weekly assignment, and just kind of see how we go from there. So I won't say that you'll have 12. I won't say that you'll have 20. It might even be less than that, depending on what that particular assignment is. It could be out of MindTap. It could be a discussion board like the one you did for tonight. Practice quizzes, journals, anything like that. And then the midterm exam, we will have one in class. It will be closed book, and based on material we've covered to that point. Yeah, I think we started talking about the policy meeting and reaction paper, didn't we? In terms of the one that you will need to go to a meeting for.
Yes, that's the last time we talked about.
I think it was too. And just to reiterate, for those of you who were not here then or not available, you will need to select a meeting to go to during the semester that's a policy-making meeting, and that could be a government agency, that could be a county commission meeting, it could be city council, it could be Board of Education, it could be a community service board meeting, which makes policy for the mental health agency that's connected with the state of Georgia. Or if you have some others you're interested in, let me know and I'll let you know if it would apply too. But the point would be to go to a meeting like that, bring back an agenda to attach to your paper and answer a series of questions that I have for you that are in here somewhere to talk about your experience in that meeting. It is not a paper that has a lot of time and effort put into it. It's worth 100 points out of the 1,000 points. But I do want you to experience what it's like to be in a meeting where people are making policies. I want you to answer things like who participated, was there much of the public there for it or not? Were they making any policy decisions, and just the way that it went from there. Another meeting that can be interesting is the zoning committee meeting for the county or the city, because that's where you will usually find people who do or don't want rezoning taking place in your neighborhood. So if you like fireworks, sometimes you might find them there too. If you go to NASW Lobby Day, or excuse me, they're calling it Advocacy Day now, which is in Atlanta, then that will count as your meeting, and you just write up the day's results for your paper on that. So it's not a policy making meeting, but we're trying to influence policy when we go up there. So that meeting would count for the place that you went to talk about. A policy brief, and it may be a group or an individual project. I really haven't decided yet. That will be due about 2 weeks before the end of the school term. And what I will ask you to do, and we'll work on this a little bit through the semester, is to decide on a policy issue that's important to you. And I know that you came up with some really good ones on the discussion board this week. So I know that you have issues that are important to you, and I'm glad. Social work has a big advocacy role to play. It's in our code of ethics that we will do what we can for social justice and for our clients' needs to be met. And so that's one of the things that we focus on a lot this semester. But anyway, that is a bigger assignment. That one's worth 150 points. And then what I've usually done in the past is allow you to do either a PowerPoint with that for the class or to do a one-page summary. But I think,
The policy brief?
yes. And that one you need to do some research on. So if you are in the research with Dr. Gresham this semester, she will have you do a literature review. If you want to do a particular policy area as your interest, you can use your lit review to give you the substance for this, if that makes sense. Okay. And maybe make your life a little bit easier for the course of the semester. I have no objection to you doing that, and I don't think she does either because we've done it before. Okay. Every 100 points is like a letter grade in this course. A is 90% to 100%, which is 900 to 1,000 points. So it makes it easy to find out where your grade is at any particular point. Any questions so far?
Nope.
Okay. And we will have a take-home exam probably. I will try not to make it one that takes so long for me to grade because I don't think we're going to have that much time after before grades are due in with graduation and everything this time. The textbook is the Jansen book. Has everyone been able to get that yet?
Should be on the way.
Okay, good. And
Now that's the mind tap, isn't it?
yeah, that's the Mind Tap. That's the, what do they call it, Access Pass that you get. Yeah, and that includes an e-copy of the book. And I think if you want like a ring binder copy, you can order one of those for another $20, I think is what they call it.
Do you know if we can order the ring binder after we've received the book?
I would imagine so, because they'll have your, yeah, it is cheaper if you do it that way. Yeah, I would do it that way because they'll have you down because you'll be in their records for Mind Tap for the class.
Okay.
And if you have a problem, let me know because there's a very, very nice person who works with us up there and makes sure we get everything done.
Okay.
She's the one who figured out last week that a number of you were trying to register through Cengage instead of Canvas, which was why I wouldn't go through. I would have never figured that out. But anyway, so, all right.
So register the access code through Canvas once we get it.
Yes, register through Canvas. Do not go on Cengage to register because that was one that wouldn't let people register. But see, what happens is when I registered for that package, or they registered me, I have to be honest, I didn't do it, they did. And I was so glad, or I'd still be on the computer. But they linked in that course with me and with my Canvas. And so this will mean when you go in through Canvas, it will link you to my Canvas website. So then any assignment you do in there that counts in your grade book will be automatically put into the grade book on Canvas, and you'll be able to see it easily that way. So, it sounds like a piece of cake. I guess we'll find out, won't we? Yeah. So anyway, I feel vastly comforted with the good people at Cengage on that. It's been very, very helpful so far. Okay, so that is the textbook that we're using this time. One of the things that I like about it is that if you look at policy at all, you realize how closely tied in it is with the history of this country. Because you can almost look at the way the historical record has progressed and look at changes that occur in policy. And the two are tied very closely together. And so the author of your book here takes that into consideration and kind of presents them together. And it's really a chronology of one is a chronology of the other one. Okay. So I'm hoping that that will give you a context to view it in, you know, and we'll see how that goes when you all get it. Now, how many of you have CJs right now? Have your Mind Tap and all that?
I haven't.
I haven't.
Okay.
I have access code actually. I have to register.
Okay, well, you need to, because, you know, I didn't do much this week in terms of assignments and nothing that would have required you to have either Mind Tap or the textbook, but for this next week I will. So, and of course, you need to read the chapter 2 for this week now. I mean, this coming week and then chapter 1. But we'll
I
get
ordered
to
mine Friday, so hopefully it'll be sometime.
it. Should be, yeah.
Dr. Fowler, may I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Will we have assignments in Canvas and in MindTap? Because I've already completed, I think, chapter 1 in MindTap. So will we have to do both?
You will not have to do all of the assignments anywhere. It will be to your benefit if you're doing the assignments, all of them in MindTap, because it will help you remember it better. But I will not have you do all the assignments in MindTap. I will continue to do some of the assignments that I will give you, you know, discussion boards or whatever, and then some will come from MindTap.
Okay.
Maybe something that I like ask you to, well, who knows if we're going to have a State of the Union address right now, but you know, what I have historically done is ask you all to look at that and then to summarize the main points that the president has put in there and what you think about them and what the Democratic response was. You know, you don't need MindTap to do that, but it's kind of, last I heard on the radio this morning was that they still don't know where it's going to be or what form it might take. So we'll see what comes out of that. So there'll be some assignments from all of those, and all of them feed into that 350 points that you have. For your module assignments. Okay, does that help?
It does. It's just hard to get it once you're doing working on the answers of the question part in MindTap.
Yeah.
You have to actually, you can't arrow back to the textbook in MindTap. You have to either have it open on your phone or you have to close the question out. You have to save it and close it out and then go to the textbook. So I'm trying to figure out if there an easier way.
You can call them.
You can open when you open the textbook, use it the way that you regularly open the textbook, and then pull up a new tab. Go to your browser and open up a new tab.
That's what I've been doing.
Log in the same page all over again, and on one tab you will have just the book, and then on the other tab
you have the questions.
The questions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but you know you can't tap back on some of that stuff, so you have to be careful with that.
When you bring up the book, you never need to go back to the questions. It makes you close out of the book and go to it. But if you open up a tab like on your Google Chrome or whatever, you log into Cengage, you everything, you click on the links that you need to take you to the book. Then usually at the top is create new tab. Create a new tab. Go back into your Canvas. Go back into Cengage. Do that again. But this one, just don't go to the book. You have a good question.
Yeah. Kind of like when you have two views up on your screen or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Like two openings of the MindTap.
Instead of having to open the other one, close it out.
Thank you. That's a good answer for that. If y'all do have any other trouble, let me know and I'll ask Engage, but that sounds like it may take care of it right there. Okay, there will be a final again. It will probably, maybe be a take home, but maybe not. We'll see. But you do have access to MindTap or to getting the pass that you need for that. That's really the only textbook we'll use in here. The NASW Code of Ethics is something you may also need to look at from time to time. It's, the older version is in the ethics book for those of you who had that last semester. And it's available for free online at the NASW website. So their thing is right here. Their address is right there for you. Okay. Okay, there is a, let's go to class policies now. Over on page 5, there's a course notes and material policy, and it says, as professor of this course, I do not grant permission to share my course notes and materials with others outside of the immediate class. And that's a policy that's found in the student handbook also. There are reasons for that. One of which is something that can lead to an honor council violation. There are students in some universities who are uploading old assignments and old tests to websites and sharing them with other people, whoever may want to look up and get them. So the university has made a policy that they are not allowed to be shared. And I concur in that. I can't imagine that most people would want to share them, but you know, anyway, that's what that's about. And while we're talking about that, let's talk about Honor Council because it is open again now. It was open last semester. It was not in effect last year because it was being reconstituted. But it is back in effect now, and they have had quite a number of cases. I don't know how many of you were here before when we had Honor Council, but my guess is not many of you, because that was like 3 semesters it was down. There is a group of students. It is a student-led group on campus. The decisions are made by that group of students. If anyone is accused of cheating or whatever a particular honor violation might be, those are reported to Honor Council. And then a screening and if need be a hearing is held to determine guilt or innocence and what the violation, what the penalty would be for that. I am one of the Honor Council co-advisors. So I have some involvement in that too, but I would remind you too that anything that's a violation of Honor Council would be an ethics violation for our code of ethics too. So just be careful about the way that you write. Make certain that you cite any material that is not yours, you know, that you didn't come up with, and don't do anything that would constitute academic dishonesty. How's that? I don't really think I'll have much trouble in that with you all, just from having gotten to know most things. But just realize that that is on here. If we look now at the course schedule on bottom of page 5, this is where we go week by week. This week we're going to be talking about being a policy advocate for vulnerable populations, basically chapter 1. And we're going to talk about your discussion board assignment because that was interesting, a lot of what was said on that too. For next week, we'll continue module 1, which also includes chapter 2. These are really the history part that goes like from colonial days into after the Revolutionary War, which was really the beginning of any kind of policy in this country. So for next week, you will need to be read up on chapters 1 and 2, and I will probably have some assignments. How many of you now don't have Untapped? You don't, but you'll get it by this next week.
Hopefully. I ordered it Friday, so.
Okay.
Hopefully, probably by the end of this week, because I ordered mine last Wednesday.
Okay, so I may do one on that, and I may do something else that's more geared to your text or to something that I can share with you too, just to make sure everybody's caught up. Okay, and then any assignments will be due next Tuesday, just like by class time, because that will be the due date for class assignments. Then after that, we'll look at social policy in this developing nation, which is chapter 3. And our hope is to get through chapter 5 before the midterm. So those two would be on the week of February 12th, which takes us up to industrialization in this country. Week after that, the 19th, we will meet with, in our class, we will meet with the senior class to hear the woman who is our Woodrow Wilson Visiting Fellow on campus this semester. She is a former ambassador for the United States and also a former congresswoman, and her name is Constance Morella. So she will be on campus most of that week, and you may have a chance to hear her in other classes or in other forums as well. She is supposed to be a really good speaker. She has had a world of experience. And in terms of basically focusing on social work advocacy for policy, which is what she's going to be talking about with us, mostly she's going to be talking about legislating in high heels, since there are so many women now compared to what have usually been in Congress, and how that may impact Congress, and also on the topic of I remember right now. Oh yeah, about whether we'll ever have civil tongues back in Congress again, you know, where people can get along and actually, you know, the way it worked for so much of the life of this country, where you have give and take and people work together. Doesn't mean everybody loves each other, but at least that they are looking out for the good of the country. Okay, so
I think we might be a long way from that, Dr. Fowler.
we are a long way from that, aren't we? And yet, if you're as old,
yes, we are.
Remember when Everett Dirksen was a wonderful statesman of the Republican Party, and there were some on the Democratic side too, you know, and people got along and they got things done. You know, didn't mean they agreed on everything, but it wasn't like the government ever plays like this.
Times have surely brought a change.
They have, but you know what? Some of your assignments, comments on the discussion board this week kind of reminded me that we as the people have a role to play in that too.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because anytime that the public gets up in enough numbers and complains about something, writes their congressman, calls their congressman's office or their congresswoman's whatever, that's when things begin to change. When there's going to be a consequence, which is that I may not go back in office.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, whole nother topic we'll get to later when we're done with the syllabus. But so that will really be all that we talk about up through the midterm. What we have when Connie Morella is here on Tuesday, that Thursday is Advocacy Day. So I need to know from you all no later than this Thursday whether you will go, okay? Because they didn't have as much time between when we started classes back this semester and when they have the deadline for registering for lobby day. And we also have to get a vehicle if we're going to do that based on the number of people who are going and all that.
So that day is the 21st of February.
21st is the Tuesday that when the ambassador comes to our class to talk. And she said she would also leave a lot of time for y'all's questions and things that you want to ask her about.
So the 21st is a Thursday.
That's the day of Advocacy Day. The 19th is when she comes. It's that Tuesday. Because both things happen the same week.
What time would they do?
So it's on a Thursday?
Yeah, it's on a Thursday.
Advocacy Day is Thursday after she has been here that Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
What time?
For lobby day, it's a long trip, and we are probably going to leave here about 5 that morning because it starts around 9 o'clock and it's in Atlanta. You know, so we have a long drive ahead of us, and I wouldn't mind missing some of what happens, except that NASW has its own lobbyist, and she is there at the beginning of the program to talk about what bills they're tracking that will affect our consumers or social work, as a profession. And so it's really, I want you all to hear her because she is excellent. She is well thought of as a lobbyist, and she's represented us as far back as I can remember anyway. So we would try and be up there by the time she starts, which is usually about 10 or 15 minutes after the program does. We go to the Capitol. We try and meet with legislators who represent our own particular areas. So if you have one that you would like to meet with, let me know. We'll see what we can set up. And then we start back about probably 3 in the afternoon, get back. What would that put us in around? Because we'll stop for supper. Well, we'll stop for dinner because it takes a while. So if we leave there at 3,
Probably about 8 or 9.
yeah, probably about 8 or 9. Okay. We have last few years we've stopped right when we get off I-75 at Cordele. There's a Golden Corral there, and so people can get what they want. And we have a dinner on the way back. So, and of course we'll have lunch too while we're there. So that's pretty much the way the day is. And you're right, we get back at about about that time. So then we're all ready to get some rest when we get home. So anyway. But what I will ask you to do is email me no later than Thursday, say at close of business, 5 o'clock, so Bill can get some arrangements made on that. He goes with us, and see where that goes, okay? And that includes those of you at home as to whether you want to go or not, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let me know by 5 Thursday, this Thursday. Okay. If any of you know for now for sure, we can go ahead and put it down on your sign-in sheet.
I'm going for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Who's got a pen? You could write that down. Yeah. Put your name on there, and those of you that are, if you'd sing out also, those of you that are at home.
Just put Lobby Day and write my name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Fowler, what was the date again?
It's Thursday,
21st.
February 21st.
Okay.
It is fun. What I would advise you to do is wear comfortable shoes.
Yes.
Bill tries to get where he can let us off near wherever NASW is meeting with us first. But then we have to walk to the Capitol. And they managed to get the Capitol on a road that, a site between the roads where it's kind of the highest angle from any road you go
Yes,
up to.
it is.
Yes, and sometimes it's really cold, and sometimes it's rainy, and sometimes it's warm like spring. So
Sometimes it's both,
yeah, in one day.
cold and raining.
I would advise you to bring comfortable clothes and shoes that you may want to change into for the ride back down. But anyway, I would suggest certainly comfortable shoes. And anybody who goes needs to take an ID, like your driver's license, because they will check them when you go into the Capitol. Okay, and there was one year we went, and a few students had ridden up together the night before in a car, and the driver was the only one who'd taken their license. So, the rest of them were just there till the driver was ready to leave. So, like I say, it's a new day since 9/11. So.
That's nice to be that way.
Yeah. Okay, so any of you who are viewing by television, if you know you're going for sure, sing your name out so we can add that to it. Okay, I think everybody's having to double check. Just remember,
When they put mics.
but you still gotta let me know Thursday for sure, one way or the other, okay? So if you think you'll know better by then just leave that in.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because this is like something that's, if you say you're going, then you need to be sure you can go. Because otherwise, it's kind of a professional piece to this too, because we're getting a van based on the number of people going, and there is a charge for each person who goes for the lobby day, and the school picks that up for all of you and for me and for Bill too. So, it's much better if you say you're going, or if you're 99% sure that you're going to go. And I realize things happen, but if that's the case and you signed up to go, then we need to know that as soon, just so we don't hold everybody up. Well, we kind of don't do that much anymore anyway, because if people got here on time, they deserve to be there on time. So anyway, but it's fun. It's a once or twice experience while you're here in school. If you go to graduate school, you may go too. Advocacy Day is something the state chapter of NASW organizes for all of the schools of social work in the state. And so there are students from all the schools there, and that's a lot of people, so. And we get a picture made in the Capitol, and we do some other things. And, like I say, if the Senate or the House are meeting, we can sit in on that or on some of the committees as well, too. See if we can meet any lobbyists over there. We've had pretty good luck with that, just to let you get a feel for how it really goes. So if any of you would let me know if you have a legislator that you would be interested in this meeting with, that would be helpful, because sometimes they're all in committee meetings and sometimes they're not. So we can start that way. There is a legislator from up in, I think it's DeKalb. It's either DeKalb or Gwinnett County that NASW will have, who will meet with all of us that morning when we're just with the other social work students. Because usually what we do is we do that until the NASW piece of it is over, and then we just go over as school groups, see what's going on. It would be helpful if you'll check in and see what legislation is being discussed. Because if there's a really important bill up there or one that we're all interested in, for good or for bad, then we can try and sit in on those if they're being on hearings up there. So, one year when we were up there, they were meeting on whether or not the foster care part of DFAC should be contracted out to a private group. And it came about because a child who wasn't even in DFAC's care had been killed. And he was not even an open case for DFACs, but it got used as a pretext to try and put that into private hands. And it did not pass, but it passed in the Senate, and they were voting on it when we were up there, and we watched that. And it's just, have any of you ever been before to the Capitol?
Yes, I have.
And did you go in and watch either the Senate or the House?
I did.
What was it like?
It was something definitely out of the ordinary, because I had never attended anything like that. But what I really got a lot out of, and it wasn't lunch, but sitting around, you get a chance during lunch is sitting around with other social workers and being a student. I was a student at the tech college at the time when Thomas University invited me to go.
We had 3 people from the tech school that went up there.
Right. And I was one of the lucky ones, and it was just amazing just to be able to sit there and, talk with other, social workers. And they were from all over Georgia. So I met a lot of people that day. Yeah, but it was a lot of good information. A lot of the sessions were closed that, we couldn't go in. But it was really interesting. I can't remember too much about it because it has been some years. But I remember the walking part.
Yes.
I remember that it must have been like 20 degrees and raining.
The weather was not helpful.
Oh, it was terrible. It was freezing cold and it was raining and we had to walk in all of that.
But now you have such good memories you can share with everyone, don't you?
Well, yes, yeah. And that's been, I can't remember how many years it's been, so I can't remember too much of the specifics, but it's awesome if people can, go up there and free trip. It's something that you'll remember for sure.
Exactly. And again, one of the things that Wendy Clifton, who is our lobbyist, will tell you is that legislators don't get a whole lot of feedback from people that they represent. And so if you have made 3 contacts with a legislator, they will remember who you are. That could be going up to them on lobby day, making sure you introduce yourself if you don't know them already, sending them a letter or a phone call, and the same kind of thing. So keep trying. Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you one of the things that I notice on lobby day and any other day I've been up at the Capitol is how nobody that's in the house that we're observing seems to be paying attention to what's being said. Kind of like going into a classroom where the teacher's talking up front, maybe, but everybody else is talking to themselves, opening up newspapers, propped up at their desk, reading papers or whatever. Did you notice any of that, Bridget?
Yes.
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 It's like, and I noticed particularly that time when they were trying to push through the privatizing of foster care, that people would pay a little attention when their speakers were up there. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to pass this bill. And then as soon as the other side got up with a rebuttal, everybody was off the floor talking somewhere, So it's
right.
It's ways that your parents taught you never to act, is what I would say about it. One thing. So, but then when they take a vote, they're all down there getting those votes going. So anyway, and the Capitol itself is a really historic building. It's been there for a long time. So especially if you've never been, I encourage you to go. We'll do some assignments before then to get ready for it too. How many of you have ever written a letter to your legislator? Good for you. All right. Or visited their office or called them on the phone and said, I want you to support this. I really hope you will.
I used to be someone else.
You used to be someone else?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay.
I used to really be into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let me run through the rest of this then so we can get to chapter 1. Some of these pages of appendices back here are program information that we keep for CSWE. Program-specific information and outcomes are all about that. If you look over on page 8, I won't go through it right now, but this is your detailed course requirements and ways, things that I will evaluate you on. All work is to be word processed and written in professional style, and I do deduct points for excessive typos and misspelling and grammar mistakes and all that. In other words, I do mean it when I say proofread, because if it's not, if I can tell you probably didn't, then you will lose at least a letter grade on something like this, on your assignments. So a social worker has got to be able to document in good professional English, using the language of your profession as well, because a number of you, if you work in agencies that have to keep records, those records are considered clinical records, and in some cases they're considered medical records. They can be held up in court, and if your writing is not good at all, that is going to really impact the way that your report is received. So I want you to leave here being able to write professionally, just like you would behave professionally. So I do count off for word problems, especially if they're running off through an assignment. Okay. Guidelines for all of them. The first one's very important. Again, answer each question in your own words. That means you don't take it from the textbook, don't copy it from the textbook. If you can put it in your own words, I know that's yours. If you can't, it doesn't really have any meaning. It's just words held together. So if I ask you a question or to define something, again, just put it in your own words, and you can usually make it simpler than the book does anyway. I'm just going to hit the highlights of this. I think I already said that, but do proofread or else. Except for the policy issue, well, the debate we're not going to do this time. The group presentation, if it is a group presentation, all your other assignments are to be done by yourself without getting any assistance from other people. Okay. And again, that goes back to Honor Council days and the Honor Code for Thomas University. You cannot use an assignment that you submitted for another course to satisfy a course in an assignment in this course. Now, as I mentioned a while ago, Dr. Gresham and I have agreed that it's okay for you to do tandem assignments if you want to do that between what you will have to do for her class and what you will have to do for this one in terms of that policy brief, because you won't be doing the same thing. So you'll be using possibly the same information in two different ways. So if you want to do that, you can. If you want to do two different topics, you can do that too. Attendance and participation. I do expect you to be here when possible, and if not, I love Zoom, so I'm glad you all are here on that too. It lets me be able to count you present, and it lets you be able to keep up with the class. And for us to get your feedback too.
Yes.
If you do that, then you can earn, as I say, up to 10 points per class session, depending on whether you're here on time and all that. And there's the breakdown for it on page 8. Module assignments, I will post in Canvas. I generally do not put module assignments up if you have a bigger assignment that's due that week, like a paper or something like that. So some of your assignments will be things that I make up. Some of them will be things that come from your textbook or from MindTap. But they will all feed into the Canvas gradebook. Now, I may give you some assignments out of MindTap just for practice that don't really count anything on your grades, and they'll be marked that way if they are. Okay. So there are some things about different kinds of assignments I might give, whether it's a reflective journal or a discussion board, and then of course MindTap and some of the others. Your midterm and finals, they will be based on everything we cover in class, including PowerPoints if we have those, your text, MindTap, exercises that we do, anything I gave you to read over, things like that. Policy meeting and reaction paper, there are the instructions for that, and loosely based, and I've got, I think, a template for that I will post so you'll know what you need to cover, but it's all right there in that paragraph. If you go to lobby day, it's really more a matter of focusing on what you observed and what we did that day, as well as what you learned during the NASW portion of it. Okay. So anyway, any question on the assignments right now? Okay, let's look then at just the additional class policies, because these are important. Time and attendance, you are expected to be here. if you are not going to be able to attend class, please do what so many of you did today and last week and let me know ahead of time if at all possible. You know, because then we can arrange things like Zoom or whatever. But I do expect you to be here if you can be here. If you miss a class, get with your classmates and see what you missed, okay? Because you're still responsible for keeping up with class materials. 2 unexcused absences may result in 1 letter grade being deducted from whatever grade you otherwise would have. 3 unexcused absences will be 2 letter grades being deducted. University policy says that with 3, then we may flunk you, in class because that's 20% of the courses. But, there are all kinds of reasons why people are absent. So a total of more than 3, excused or unexcused, brings that into play. Okay, you are expected to complete all assignments by the posted due dates. And this is a hybrid class, so any unexcused, missed, or late weekly assignments will lose 10% of their maximum points that you would have had otherwise for every week or part of a week that assignment's late. Okay. When you are in field and when you are a professional in social work, you will have deadlines to get all of your documentation in. It's not okay to bring it in a day or 2 late, much less a week or 2 or 5 or 10 late. So what I'm saying is that this semester, actually, I won't take any late assignments after the last class period that we have here. And there will be 10% taken off all the way to 0 for the weeks or parts of a week that something is late. So please do yourself a favor, and if you're going to do it, do it on time. Then you get more points. Some of you have not gotten on to the first discussion board. I did notice that this afternoon. Because we had not talked about this before that was assigned, I will give you through tomorrow to finish if you haven't. There will be a point or 2 taken off because you didn't, and some of you have already done all you had to do with it anyway, so that's fine. You don't need to go back in there and do it again. If you want to go back in there and look at your English usage or that, that's fine too. But I will re-examine it tomorrow, Thursday, because I'll give you till tomorrow night to, if you haven't done it so far, to go back in there and do that. That will be your only do-over. Okay? I like golf and I like mulligans, but you only get one. Right? So a word to the wise is sufficient, isn't it? If you're in the hospital, of course, things are different. Or if there's a documented excuse that rises to the level of urgent, then that's different too, because I like to think I'm kind of reasonable, but otherwise, get them in on time. And what I generally do with discussion boards is to close them as of the due date, which is usually the beginning of the next class. And the reason that I do that is a discussion board is there for everybody to participate and learn from everybody else. And if you go in and want to go in a week later, everybody else has moved on. So it's not like you can do much of anything with that. So if you have to be late on something, don't let it be a discussion. Okay. All right. That would be, incomplete late assignments. Again, all assignments are due by the beginning of class in which they're due. If you're not going to be here, you need to get them to me by email or scan an email or whatever, or Canvas. Grades of incomplete, this is number 4 over on page 11, are only given under extenuating circumstances and in accordance with university policy, which means there has to be a really good reason to give them incomplete. Cell phones turn off during class. I hate to say it, but I'm usually the biggest violator of that because I just forget. So I won't come down too hard. I do check the course site and my email frequently, and I'll respond to your communication or questions or whatever within 48 hours during the work week. It's usually much sooner than that, but that is the maximum that it would be. Another thing I'd like to say, the next part is that a lot of social issues and policies do bring up strong feelings, and we don't always agree on those, do we? So it's fine to disagree, and you roll out your research on your arguments why you feel the way you do, but you also respect each other. Okay. That will not be tolerated. Okay. Check Canvas at least every 48 business hours, you know, just in case I had to post something else that you need to know about. I will usually try and send out an email for that too, now that I have realized that it doesn't look like Blackboard where it would send out an automatic email whenever you post it as an announcement. So anyway, all right. How are we doing on time? Anybody know? 7:08. Oh, we're getting there, aren't we? Okay, one of the things that I would like to tell you about moving to your discussion board last week is that you had a lot of good answers in there, I thought. It was obvious to me that you all put a lot of thought into it. But let me just read you some things, and this was not something that I put in your instructions for this one, and I wasn't clear about it last week. So it's, again, this is not something I'm going to hold you to on that one either, but I will for all future assignments. And that is cite your sources, okay? A discussion board is not so much about you giving your opinions, although this first one kind of floated into that, and the way I wrote the directions, there's no reason why it wouldn't have, you know. But in a discussion board, I want you to, if you give your opinions, you've got to back them up with research, okay, with cited references that you quote in wherever you're citing it, you know, and then putting at the bottom, as one, I think you did that, Billy, on one of yours. But let me just read you some of the things that kind of came out of that. And then we're going to talk about why this is not really what we want again. Well, again, a lot of them work down to the fact that they're opinions and they were not based on facts. Okay. Generalities, again, are not things that you want in a discussion board because they need to be pinned to facts. Okay. Here's a quote from 3 different writers. The government shutdown has affected over 80,000 people. There are over 1,000 people that are without jobs due to the shutdown. Government shutdown right now is affecting 800,000 government workers. They can't all be true, right?
Nope.
Well, but they're not all quite asking or saying the same thing either, are they? One talks about people who've lost their jobs. One talks about people who are affected. Actually, 2 of them talk about affected, you know. So if you're going to use numbers and things like that as facts, you've got to be able to cite your information.
So it's not just a policy.
Say again?
So it's not just a policy, or I think it's called, what is it? I can't think of the type of policy it is.
What?
Not easily. When you just throw a number out there, there's no
proof.
There's no
Yeah.
credit. There's no credible source.
Exactly.
When you say they said, or someone said, well, they said.
Of course, and it's always them.
Yeah.
You know, it's always the other, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like that old saying that there's facts, damn facts, and there's statistics. You know, which is kind of something that I heard in every stat course I ever had to take. But yeah, you've got to be able to prove it. You know, This is not politicians in Washington making up things as they go. For this and for any contact that you would have with a legislator, like go up for lobby days, you need to be able to tell them the truth about what the effects are of a problem or a lobby issue that you are concerned with, that you're trying to advocate for. The minute they catch somebody in a lie, they don't like don't waste your time going back again. You know, so it's fine to say, I don't know, but I'll check it out and send you that information. And then as Wendy Clifton would tell you, that's 2 contacts, you know. So, but you need to know what you're talking about. And a lot of times we tend to generalize, and especially in politics, which is a big part of policy. You know, remember we talked about that last week a little bit. You've got to know what you're talking about, and you've got to be able to back it up with facts. You know? So anyway, does that kind of make a case for things for folks? Okay. Now we'll do that from here on out. If I ask for your opinion, then that's fine, you give it. But if you're going to base it on numbers, you better be able to cite where you got the numbers from. Okay. And one of the things that I will do is in the next couple of weeks bring in a friend sent this to me, but I think it's a fairly good one. It's a graph that shows on a chart of left to right where all the major publications are. TV, networks, newspapers, magazines, whether they tend to have a left bias, a right bias, or whether they're much closer to the middle, you know. And I'll share that with you because the other piece of getting good information is not only finding something that's printed or online, but being able to judge the quality of that. Yeah. And if it's something that takes a big issue either way, you know, that is always liberal or always conservative or whatever, you need to keep looking because there are, even if the people are trying to be, you know, then you've got a slant that you look at material. Are we out of time? Is that why people are?
Oh, no,
There we are. We'll stop there. If you did not look at the, at the PowerPoint, then please do that. It's kind of a PowerPoint I had worked up for the same information based on what I used before. Okay? And I will get your assignments up hopefully tomorrow.
You're going to post a new discussion board?
I'm not sure whether it'll be a discussion board or something else, but I will.
Okay.
Something.
You said you'll have our assignments up by tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I have a memo point.
You'll be able to get normal.
Okay. Thank you all for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, bye.
Sweet.
Marquisha, I want to see the baby.
Oh, I want to see that baby. Bye-bye. Good night.
Jack, I see your picture.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, send me one.
You'll be amazed at how they slant information. Though.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that Congressman talking about that thing with Mitch McConnell. I tried so hard to get a true statement, but the only thing you can go by was what Mitch said. So after looking at it, I said, well, you know what? And then at best, I just say what he said. And he said, you know, he did not hand out any checks on the floor. And that was his statement.